Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, the host of your show, and we just love talking about our healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day, or one of those areas are going to start letting us know about it. I always love having incredible guests from time to time, and today I have got one of the most amazing guests. In fact, it's almost like a rerun because Delinda Delane has been with us before, and you can go back and look in some of our records and find out our first show together. But again, welcome, and just like my friend Paula Fillingham always says that she is the founder of Win Win Women TV, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. So today we're going to have an interesting topic, and we're always talking about ways that we're going to continually nurture what we've got. And, sometimes when we ignore some areas, some of those areas just start letting us know about it. So Delinda Delane, I will tell you, I have met her and she is going to just blow your socks off. We're going to be taking the girdle off your brain and let the negativity out. And so when we are talking about these different things, this is an amazing woman that is such an expert. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her in a minute, but welcome, Delinda. I'm so grateful that you're here with us again.
I am so glad to be here. You're always so fun, and I just love sharing this space with you.
Well, it's some of those times when we just get to come together, and that's when there is such great synergy, but then we are also sharing so many nuggets, so many words of wisdom to help other people. And that's really all about it. But I'm going to share something about Delinda, that she has got such a wealth of history and background. But I just have to share with you. So a little bit about Delinda. When she was in the 7th grade, she jumped on the stage and she was going to sing her first solo. And she's been continuing to sing and be on stage ever since. And people love Delinda's energy. And she is a sassy lady. She loves wearing high heels, and she will just, tell you like it is. She is a straight talker, and she loves keeping people engaged because that's what it's all about. People helping people. But Delinda is from Las Vegas, where she is holding her 7th WOW, the World Conference for Women. You're going to hear more about that in a little bit. The first weekend of August. Can you imagine 7 years that she has been doing this, putting it together and serving women from all over the world? But she is the founder and leader of the fun, fearless female global community of Christian women. You'll learn more about that too and how you can be a part of that. And then she is also how to step into your God-sized dreams. We even dream anymore? Delinda can help you dream. But she believes each woman is amazing, brilliant, and has greatness to shine for the world. And as a women's empower mentor, she mentors women to empower themselves. Do you realize that you can take it from the inside out and make it come to fruition? And she can help you do that. And her mission is to help women, again, realize their significance and value by encouraging them to stop the negative self-talk, believe in themselves, their gifts and their values and their families, and again, to be able to serve the world. Welcome again, Delinda. Again, we have just learned some of the amazing background.
Well, thank you so much. Just like, okay, it's so interesting to hear somebody read and say those things. So just thank you. It is really a privilege to be here with you and all of your listeners, everybody who's joining us or now and in the future here on the replays.
That is fantastic. And yes, that's one of the things that we have the beauty of when we have some replays, because sometimes we hear some things and we're going to go, I think I missed that. I want to go back and hear that again, because the more that it goes into us, then the more it really becomes a part of us. So Delinda, just reflecting back a little bit, what was one of the defining moments that just sort of made you decide, you know what, now's the time that I want to do this new area of my life, because we're always going through seasons of life and you've got lots of amazing history. But what was it that brought you to today?
Wow, that is such a great question. Probably a couple things, but I'll try to briefly say it. Um, I was born in a very strict household, and I might have said this in the first show because it's that beginning of my story.
Mhm.
And was raised in the South. My dad was in the Air Force, and we went to the Southern Baptist Church. So my whole life was just so strict. And truthfully, I didn't know what to do with this personality that he gave me, because he gave me this big personality. And yet I was being told, pretty is as pretty does, don't speak unless spoken to. Children should be seen and not heard. So I see you shaking your head, so you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So what happens then is that you grow up being told to stifle yourself all the time. So it was years before I realized that I had a voice or a choice about anything. And as that unraveled, as I began to realize that I did have choices, that I didn't have to just do what everybody else thought I should do or be the person they were trying to make me become. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mhm.
I just find that now so many women that are out there do feel invisible. They feel like they don't have choices and voices. And to the point of about this personalities, and maybe some of y'all understand that you feel like you've got so much to give and these gifts you want to use, but you're not really sure how to do them and if it's okay, because we're told it's not okay. So to answer your question, now that you know a little history, in Philippians 2:15b, it says, and that scripture's been there for all these years, but it wasn't until I wish I need to go back and figure out when the exact date was, but somewhere in my late 30s, early 40s, I was reading the scripture, and this verse, it's like God finally just said, here it is. Shine like stars in the universe as you hold out the word of truth. And it's like, wait. You mean it's okay? It's okay to shine. It's okay to be who you created me to be.
Mhm.
So once that was one of those take the girdle off my brain moments that, oh my gosh, a new world opened up. So I knew that I had to share that with other women. And so from that point, that really has, excuse me, has been my mission. And
Mhm.
the Lord in his wisdom and how he does things had been preparing me all this time. I didn't know that. But when you look back and you at the threads of your life and you see this thread of, he always put me working with women. I was always, he gave me the gift of leadership and those kind of things. So I was ready to go. Once I finally realized that I could just be who he created me to be, it was amazing.
Wow, that is amazing. And what hope that is for other people that have those great gifts, those big personalities and those great gifts, and it's okay to use them. It's okay to shine like the stars. I mean, this life is, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So we better do our very best today. And when we can do those things and shine, and also when we shine and shine the light on others, Delinda, which you do such an amazing job with the women that you are helping and bringing a part of your community. I love that the shine from you reflects and just spills over onto these women. So I just commend you so much for what you're doing, using your awesome gifts and talents. So, okay, so we're going to talk about the girdle.
The girdle.
Yeah. But before we begin, I told you, I said I had done a little bit of research on the girdle. And so this was some good information. It was talking about back in the day, there were steel corsets made of whale bones, and girdles have been defined in history as for shapewear. And for thousands of years, women have manipulated their bodies to fit fashion trends. And in ancient Rome, women bound their busts to match the ideal small-chested, figures. And then in the Victorian era, women became obsessed with a wasp waist, using corsets to shrink their waist to 16 inches. Oh my gosh, that's
Unbelievable.
and then in the flappers, remember those roaring 20s, they wore the undergarments so they could have a straight boyish figure. So girdles have been around for a long time, and shapewear even changed history. During World War I, the US government asked women to stop wearing corsets because they use so much steel. And women listened, and they freed up enough steel, Delinda, to build 2 ships.
Wow.
Fun things just to learn, just a little bit about, the history of that. So now that we know just a little bit about the girdle, and there's all these younger women that probably never ever seen one, much less put one on. But tell me what it is about the girdle on our brains.
Well, Nancy, if you think about it, and I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's like so cool. Think about so for you ladies who never have put on a girdle and don't really know. So think of today's world, it would be Spanx. Okay, so, you pull the Spanx on, they gotta suck in, try to get a smooth line, really. We just want this nice smooth line. But it's called shapewear for a reason, because it's trying to shape you to what the world accepts. Okay, it's trying to shape you into being maybe what you're not, and it could be your legs, your thighs, it could be your midriff, which happens to a lot of us, me being one of those. So if you want to do a little experiment, so if y'all are really with me here, imagine having something on your head and just and I do this in my workshops and stuff. So I want you to press your head, if you're with me, press your head as hard as you can. I'm going to chat for a minute while you're doing this, and just think of like one of the other things that really is so tight. If y'all have ever worn pantyhose, okay, pantyhose kill me. And for years as a Mary Kay director, I wore pantyhose every day. And I couldn't wait. Okay, there's 2 things that bind you, right? Keep your hands on here and keep pressing really tight. So, and that is pantyhose. And as soon as I would get home or be off of work, the first thing I did when I walked in the house was go to the bedroom, take off my pantyhose, and, okay, sorry guys, take the bra off. I mean, we're always trying to fit into some mold, right? So when we would take those off, so it's imagining, so now your head is getting a little bit tight, maybe. So we're going to do it together. I'm going to take it off when I count to 3. So just really feel it. And when you do, I want you to lift your hands up. So it's like a feeling of exploding out. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3, off. All right. So could you feel just that little bit of release of pressure? Okay. So if you think about it, where this came from is that I just feel so many times we as women, we're always holding in the negative thoughts, all the things of, the what we're supposed to be. We're holding in the beliefs, the negative self-talk, the doubt that we have, and that comparison to other people. We're always holding that in, and we can be just a little obsessive. Would you agree? We can kind of just keep going and playing those same recordings over and over. But when we take the girdle off the brain, it does several things. It releases us, first of all, to accept the positive energy and accept the positive blessings that the Lord has for us. Because when we're staying in this down place, we're not even allowing the grace of God and his blessings to come in, because we're not believing it. So a big part of releasing that girdle off your brain is to really beginning to believe in who you are and who God created you to be, that, you have special gifts and talents. We all do. And it's amazing how the world works so well when we all work together. When we share our ideas and our talents, we're all more powerful, we're stronger. So getting the girdle off opens us up. It's even like and I know y'all have all probably seen an example of this. Again, when you're holding your fist like this and you're trying so hard to control things, y'all know, really, we can't control anything, right? It is an illusion. We just think we're controlling things. So when you're holding on and you're holding on, it's not until we begin to release. And sometimes it's one little thing at a time, release the control we think we have over our kids, release the control of all these things in the world that we think we can. And once we do, our hands are open. Our heart is open, our brain is open, our hands are open to receive the positive things in life and the blessings, like I said, that the Lord has for us, and begin to believe that there's a new path that we can take, that we can shine, and that it's okay, and that the world needs what you have to offer. that's a big deal for a woman to finally realize that. It's
Mhm.
wonderful.
It is. It's so freeing, Delinda, and just thinking about you're creating the opening to be able to receive, and but you just like you did the physical, and we could feel the difference. What it is being found, and there's so much that we get to do, and I hate to say it, but we have to do it every day.
We do. Yeah, because there's always forces out here in the world that are trying to steal our joy. It wants us to believe negative things. If you think about the commercials that are on TV and whatever are reading, if it's on TV or whatever, the world, okay, we're just saying the world in general is out to make you feel bad about yourself. And you say, oh, Delinda, you're just making that up. Why would they? Like, no, if you want to have lots of friends and go to parties and have a beautiful life, well, then you better put on your crest strips and get your teeth white, because that's how you're going to have all these friends. If you want a really hunky guy like Matthew McConaughey, well, then you better buy this car, right? So the world is constantly bombarding us with ways to feel bad or worse about ourselves, because they want you to take their answer, which is buy my product, and they make money. And so it's all about make you feel bad, so you buy their product. And we don't realize that we're bombarded with that all the time, and that somebody else does it better than you. And that model, look at how she looks. It's so, we have to stop. We really have to stop and realize what's happening, so we can change and make that mind shift to believe. Bottom line is, in my opinion, is believe what God says about you. To believe that you are a beautiful, worthy person. He's created you for greatness. He's created you to shine. He loved you so much that he created the world for us. I mean, literally, he created the world for us, as well as sending Jesus. So if you can really get that down in your gut of who you are, then you don't need to compare yourself to anybody else again. And that is wow. That is a wow.
That is a wow. That's an awesome wow. And something I think that is even more wow too, Delinda, is that as we learn, doesn't matter how old we are, what stage of life we're in, we're lifelong learners. We're always going to learn something new. And I think women are very trusting, and they don't think that anybody could be doing anything, negative or underhanded. But you did. You just really shared the truth about something. And then when that truth resonates, and then when you're helping ourselves, then we're able to help somebody else. And that's why we're here. It's here to pass it on to those next generations. It's here to pass on. You and I were talking earlier about the younger women, in our lives. And I learned from younger women. I also learned from, other women too that are older than me. Yeah, there's some women older than me. I'm not the oldest yet. But anyways, but we want to be able to use and share these amazing gifts and techniques and the things that you're talking about, because to be honest, women don't talk about these types of things. Have you noticed that over the years? They just quietly suffer, quietly stuff all this.
Keep stuffing ourselves in the girdle, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what we do. And we do that in our head with our thoughts, that very same concept. That's why the comparison works with the whole girdle thing is. And I think so often women think they're the only one, or what's wrong with me. And that's why they don't share it as much, is because they think they're just walking that journey by themselves. And when they find out, there's a whole bunch of others that can walk that path with you, right?
Absolutely. So another topic that, and I know I want to be mindful of our time because you have so much great information to share, but when we're talking about letting the negativity out and God's blessings coming in, sometimes are there ways, because sometimes people, women especially, go, well, I don't really know, if I do or if I don't. So what are some things that you help women to do? Is it just to stop for a few minutes, or what are some things? I mean, we had a great time squeezing our head, but what are some other things that you really share so women can think about, stop long enough, because you're so busy, that's the way one of the things the enemy wants you to do, stay so busy that you don't even realize sometimes.
I think that's true. I think that some of it comes from thinking about self-care. Look at what are you doing to make yourself feel better. And that, again, we're taught that that's not good. That's being selfish, but that's not true. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. So we do have to love ourselves. And for years, and many people, it's very prevalent out there. We feel like, we need to be busy and doing things and helping others, and that's all good. But when we empty our cup out, you cannot give what you do not have. So if we're not filling our cup and taking care of ourselves, taking care of our heart, taking care of our mind. And I think a few things, little keys to yourself of realizing that is stop. Absolutely, Nancy. Because, you think of a drill bit going down and down and down. How do you get it to turn back the other way? How do you make that shift? You have to stop first and really listen to yourself. Go in if you find yourself, you really have to pay attention. Okay, so first of all, you do have to pay attention. Like when you go into the closet in the morning, what are you saying to yourself? Like, oh, I don't have anything to wear, or I'm so fat, I can't do this, or I'm getting too old. This is one. I'm getting too old to do that anymore. I mean, stop it. Just stop it. Because we're allowing those lies to keep us down. In today's world with all of the products, and you represent some of those that really can begin to heal our bodies from the inside out, and we can live healthier, more energetic lives, but we have to quit telling ourselves that we're just getting old. That's a part of getting old. Well, in a lot of cases, it is not. Just stop telling yourself those lies. So that's one of the places that I see.
I know. And I know that there is some common sense too, because I mean, I'm not going to wear the mini skirts and the 5-inch heels that I wore when I was 20. And so,
well, I'm still wearing the 5-inch heels, but I don't wear the mini skirt.
But it's fun, and life is too short not to have fun and enjoy. And it's like the first thing that I do when I go into my closet, I'm going, Lord, what color shall we wear today? It's like we decide about what color, and then and it's so funny because we usually sometimes dress from the bottom up or the top down or whatever, or your shoes, So, but I think you need to really enjoy life and enjoy every single day. And as soon as that negative chatter starts, just stop and going, is this building me up? Is this tearing me down? Is this, something that, is going to make me feel less than instead of feeling overflowing and vibrant? And just like you said, we have to fill up to overflow, and to overflow good on others and not the negative, because that can happen really quick too.
You really can. And a good way to check yourself is look at the people you're surrounding yourselves with. And if they are negative, gossiping, you're with them and you never really feel that good when you get back home, that's an indication that that's actually how you are, because you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So if you realize that, make a change, start getting yourself in other groups that have a more positive energy, who look at life differently. So it's like looking at who you're hanging around and what are you watching and what are you reading. And the big one, like you were saying, is what are you telling yourself? It can be in your car, like, oh, I'm always late. What's the matter with me? I just never can. All of those are negative thoughts. And the more we say them, the more we are what we're saying. Your brain is going to take you down the road. What you're talking about, whatever you really focus on is what's going to happen. So if you're saying all the time that you never, my big one for years, I mean, 50 years, it was like, oh, I can never remember names. Well, of course not. How could I ever remember names? Because I keep telling myself I can't remember names. So I finally made a shift. Like, I can remember names. People are important to me, so I remember who they are. And it still is an effort, because I was told myself that for so long. But there's those things, and if you can catch yourself, it's like really being aware and being intentional about what are you saying to yourself. Also, what are you saying to others? Because if you're also always looking for the bad, trust me, you're going to find it. But here's the other side. If you're looking for good, you're going to find it. Your life will be richer because you're looking for good in your life and in other people.
It is. I remember years ago, there was a gentleman that was doing some training, and he was talking about remembering names. And so he said, when you come across and you're meeting somebody, he said, associate their name with whatever. And so, like for you, Delinda is delightful. And so I can remember, your name easier that way because I've associated something that was true and positive. And so it's
That's
just
awesome.
one of those fun things just to do that association that helps strengthen, that remembrance. And you're exactly right. Whatever we tell ourselves, we're going to become more and more like that.
And if you're telling him that the really, to me, the really dangerous ones are the ones that probably were told to you growing up or somewhere, whether it was teachers or parents, saying, oh, I'm just not smart enough to learn this, or I'm not good enough to go to that party, or they're not going to accept me, because we're continuing to feed into, again, their lies. And when we can realize what the lies are, we can change. But until we can acknowledge it and look at that, there won't be change. But you can make those choices, and it's always about choices. And and I was talking to my daughter yesterday. She is an amazing person, but I'm telling y'all, we had a horrible relationship. I mean, we did, and she'd be the first one. And she knows that I mentioned her on shows and stuff because I'm so proud of her now. But she made some really bad, hard choices in her life, and then she made a change. And so she's been clean and sober. So I'll just say now you can figure out where we came from, because she's now clean and sober for 12 years, and she's just doing so great. And she owns her choices. And this is what I told her yesterday. I said, Alicia, I'm so proud of you because you don't try to hide. You don't try to pretend it never happened. You really own your choices. And she said, well, Mom, what else? Why else wouldn't I do it? I mean, I did it. I made bad choices. I said, yeah, but then you started making some really good ones, and look at where you are now. So that's the hope, that we really can make change in our life. And owning our choices is where I think it starts. Begin to make different choices. Okay, so let's say first, realize you have a choice. Okay, so when you have a choice, because sometimes, y'all, not making a choice is really making a choice. When you just decide to stay where you are and be unhappy, you're choosing that. So just realize that you're the one choosing it. And then once you realize the choices you're making, then own them. That doesn't, but you can change your mind tomorrow. You can make a different choice tomorrow, and that's okay. But really, that is the power that we have. That is the thing we can control, Nancy. We can't control what's happening in the world, and we can't control our kids and all that, but we can control our choices in how we relate and how we react to the world and what's going on.
Absolutely. And you mentioned an amazing word that I think needs to be mentioned more and more every day, and that is hope. When we can help some other people have hope when they have felt so hopeless. And life, has sometimes dealt some people some really hard circumstances, and they didn't choose it. But you do know that we get to have the choice on how we're going to react and how we're going to overcome. And yes, we do, sometimes we do get knocked down. We go through the trials of life. We go through all those things. We stumble, we fall. That's why we have each other to help each other pick each other up. Right. But hope is something that I think that we need to help instill more of, Delinda.
And just showing each other that there is hope. And sometimes people can be in such a dark place, and they're hurting so much that they can't see the hope. And that's where we come in. If our experiences and the things that we've done can help them see that there is, and just, it's like that, you light a match in a dark room, just that little bit of hope, that light that comes out can then just grow and get bigger. It just has to have the spark. And sometimes we can be the spark to each other.
Absolutely. And just like you're talking about, being transparent, even like with your daughter, and, the things that we have gone through. And yes, we have lived to tell because we're still here.
We're still here.
And
That's
we're
right.
still here. He's not finished with us. And I can't believe our time is coming so close to an
Oh
end.
my
And
gosh, it
I
is.
know. We just have so much fun when we're together. But
We do.
I want you to share with the ladies in the audience how they can get in touch with you. Where can they find you? And you told me that you have a gift to give, and how can they find the gift?
Okay. So I have a gift. It's called The Keys to Making Better Choices, because once we make better choices, we can change our life. So you can just go to my website, which is, and y'all can see how to spell my name there, DelindaLane.com. It's pretty easy. So remember that Lane is Layne. So it's DelindaLane.com. And it's, you just fill out the little thing for coming to the website. And then also I have a link that I can give to Nancy. She can put on here for later, but that's a way to do that. And just come visit me. And the other, would this be a good time to talk about Fun Fearless?
Surely.
Okay, so really other way to get a hold of me and to be part of our community, if you're like-minded and you want to be part of Fun Fearless Female Global Community of Christian Women, we just invite you to bring your gifts and talents to us. We'll share ours with you and we'll all just get better and we'll grow together. And so that is fun. So you go to facebook.com and then go to groups. Okay, so we're a group and the group is just Fun Fearless Female. Sometimes it's hard to find, so just go Fun Fearless Female Global, and then it'll finish it out. Because there's a couple of other, I'm just going to warn you, somebody took my name and put an S on the end and did Fun Fearless Females, and that's not my group, because that's not the group that has our attitude and our faith journey in it. So
That's awesome. And they can also scan your QR code that is right beside your beautiful face. So there's lots of ways to get in touch with Delinda. And yes, I will put the information in for the program. And so in the meantime, I invite you to come back next week. We are here every Wednesday at 7. And I also invite you to come to my website and just find some fun quizzes that you can do for yourself, self-check quizzes or stress, and visit some of our other Win-Win Women community shows. We have got a plethora of great information to share with other people. And so, Delinda, I bet there will probably be a third session with you because
I would love it.
Get enough of you. But thank you again so much for your willingness just to come and share nuggets of your wisdom.
Thank you. You are such a blessing. Thank you.